I tend to find that when fish have the lead in a hand and they pot a particular street, that if you call, they will continue to pot following streets almost no matter what comes, unless it's like a really obvious, really bad card. And sometimes that doesn't even matter to them. But when he half pots it, and usually I assume that those are bluffs, and generally they are, those full pots. But when he half pots it, it makes me think that he sort of just has something. And if you look at at this pop up here, it says that he has only folded to 1 out of 3 flop raises. So I kind of thought raising here would probably be better. If he had potted it, I would definitely just call. But when he half pots it, I'm gonna raise and just hope he has an ace. So he calls. In terms of 7, somewhat of a decision here whether or not to bet or to check, because now, like, if he has a club draw, he's less likely to call since the board's paired. I don't really ever think he's folding an ace, and I don't really think he has a 7 very much. So it's like, if I check back and the river is like a heart or like a 5 of hearts or something, the question I have to ask myself is, do I think he's betting an ace? And if he is betting it, do I think he's calling a jam? Well, whether or not he calls a jam isn't necessarily that important, because if he has clubs and he'll always fold here, then checking back and calling and jamming the river is going to be better. Whereas if he has an ace and he's always calling turn and river, but if I check back the turn and he bets the river and I jam, he'll fold it, then betting the turn is better. Honestly, I'm really not sure what to do here. It's like, I could do one or the other. I'm not sure what makes one better than the other. I think I just opted to bet, just hoping that if he had an ace that he wouldn't fold. But I certainly think that checking here could be a reasonable play. Or betting like kind of smaller. Like, I could have bet like $8 there on the turn. Might have been a little bit better. Just to encourage him to call the times that he does have clubs, or potentially something like worse, like pocket jacks or pocket queens that now thinks is cheaper, because I'm betting a smaller amount, that it's cheaper for him to call, and then he might call again with a hand like that. So that's another consideration. But he folded. In the top right, I overcalled the ace-8, and I think this is a good spot to lead, because I could check raise. Check raise is going to be okay, but one problem with that is if jab c-bets and your mom is a MILF calls, I don't really want to check raise anymore, because my sizing is going to have to be bigger, and your mom is a MILF is more likely to call my check raise with all sorts of random stuff, which could potentially be bad for me. So given all that, I think I'm just going to lead, and then if the turn's a 7 or a 4 or a 9 or a club or an ace, then I'm going to continue betting. And I think I look kind of strong to jab here, so I think he's going to fold all hands worse than a king. Since I'm leading with this player, your mom's MILF, in the small blind. So I should get more credit from him. And this dude's just going to have nothing so often, so that's why I do that.